an in-person support group, we would always recommend a book to new people. And in that book, he said there's one question that is critical. And I was thinking about this today because I thought back when I was starting, it would really be nice to know, there's one core concept to keep in mind at all times, according to Jonathan Grayson and the book, Freedom from Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, which it's what we would say, like, look, you're new to OCD, get this book, otherwise you won't understand what we're talking about. So I thought I would just read this and pass it along because maybe this will shorten the time you're confused. So he talks about accepting uncertainty as your first step, and that the process of treatment for OCD, whether it's self-directed or professionally directed, involves choosing goals and finding the best way to achieve them. He says your major goal is overcoming OCD and escaping this monster. I'm going through my notes on the book. And he says, but wanting to overcome OCD is not enough. The first step to conquer OCD is the easiest and the hardest. It's the easiest because you don't have to change any behaviors. Like changing your behavior is the hardest part. He says you just have to answer a question. So this is what I was saying earlier. The hardest thing is, answering the question because you change the way you view your life and your future. The question's simple and the answer's critical. This is all according to Grayson in the book. He says that the success and failure of your treatment depends on the response. And the question is, are you willing to learn to live with uncertainty? And I've forgotten this core concept a lot of times, and I always come back to this book and this question. And he talks about saying, like, look, yes means wanting to live in a world where harm might come to your loved ones. Maybe you're evil, maybe you've committed sins. Maybe some thought will always be with you. So it's possible to live. Is it possible to live comfortably and be aware of all these possibilities? That's the thing. Can you live with the possibility of your greatest fears coming true? So he says, like, look, you already live with a lot of non-OCD uncertainty. There's a lot of risk in just driving your car. Obviously, I've got, driving OCD. And he talks about acceptance being living with reality. And certainly something I struggle with. If you accept a lot of these issues, then the other things do kind of go away. And he talks about there's reality. So if acceptance is living with reality, he says, like, you don't put problems in fantasies. So when fantasy always wins if you compare reality, which you're trying to escape, to the fantasy that you're removing problems from. He's talking of like, it's not a fair comparison. I had someone tell me like, oh, you moved to Spain. It must be just a dream. And like, I was like, I have a lot of problems moving to Spain in global lockdown. They just don't, but they won't see it because you take problems out of fantasies. And a lot of OCD is just, you live in the fantasy. And he talks about, look, if you change, you would be someone else. So that's the main question. I know I built it up, taking a bit too much time, but the main question in Freedom from Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, the book, we always recommend it is, are you willing to learn to live with uncertainty? I'm a little hard on myself, so I'd always cut the learn out, but it's not really fair. Are you willing to live with uncertainty? Isn't what he's saying. It's, are you willing to learn to live with uncertainty? Because for us, instinctually, we just go straight into compulsions. We'll get whatever obsession just arrives. And then whatever the compulsion is, it's like it's an instinct. So I just wanted to share that and hoping it'll help someone. And thanks for joining. If you're interested in the OCD support group, you can join the Facebook group. And it'll be wonderful to see you there. We do Friday groups. So thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.